I want to share with you guys why I started homeschooling my 3 children. I have a 9-year-old. His name is Grayson. He is currently in 4th grade, or that's when I pulled him out in September of 2024, he was in 4th grade. And I have a 7-year-old that is in 2nd grade. And then I have a 2-year-old that would be deemed in preschool, which a lot of people are like, oh, well, he's 2. He's not in school. You're not homeschooling him. You're just taking care of him. But I've never, even before homeschooling, I never thought of it that way. I'm teaching you all the time. You are being taught. So my initial motivation behind homeschooling, it started maybe in 2020, which most of us have. If you had a child in school at that point in time, we all had a taste of what homeschooling is. Once COVID was, here and school started to shut down, a lot of kids got sent home, maybe with laptops, Chromebooks, and they were on Zoom with their teacher. At that point, my 9-year-old, he'll be 10 in a few months. My 9-year-old at that time was entering kindergarten August 2020. But it actually started before then. I have 2 bonus children. That April, maybe the last 3 weeks of that 2019-2020 school year, they came to our home because I was at home. They came to our home and they finished that school year here with us on a laptop. Was I, teaching them per se? Not really. I mean, it was the end of the school year already. They had their laptops. They're older, so I would say that was 4 years ago. So they were 12 and 15, 16. So they already knew what they needed to do. They got on, they did their Zoom, they did their stuff. End of the year, that was it. But then when August 2020 came, I did not, nor anyone in our county really knew what was about to happen. We were very unsure. Even the school system was very unsure on what they were doing. Are they going to be in person? Are they going to be on Zoom? Are we going to have everybody in the classroom all at the same time? Are we going to have some kids come some days and some kids come, the other opposite days? They didn't know until I'm pretty sure a week before school started, they still didn't have a clue. So at that point, I decided I'm going to keep my child at home. At that point, my bonus children, they were already back with their mother, and I wasn't having to figure things out for them, but I definitely had to figure things out for my kindergartners. So we stayed home. That was an easy decision because 1, my county didn't know what we were doing. 2, he's in kindergarten. A lot of states in America, it's not a requirement. It's not a requirement to go to kindergarten. You don't have to go. There are a few that you do have to go, but here in Georgia, it is not a requirement for you to go to kindergarten. So it was an easy decision for me. I'm already home with him. What is another, 10 months of being home with my child? It's fine. So I then, at that point, I just didn't enroll him. There was nothing, else to do. So I set up one of our guest room. I set that up as his little school room. And we did that for the first semester. The second semester, I was like, okay, I'll go ahead and enroll you. And at that point, I think that they finally made a decision with the school district that they weren't going to be in school. They were doing Zoom. So, which now looking back on it, I really wish I just would have kept going. There really wasn't a huge reason on why I shouldn't have. But I kind of wanted him to be able to talk to other kids, and I thought that that's what they were going to do on Zoom. No, they were literally, trying not to fall asleep. I mean, they're 5. They're trying not to fall asleep, listening to the teacher. We would, I'd help him do his worksheets, or Sometimes they would actually do projects over Zoom, and I help him do, make sure he has all his supplies and things. But I really wish we would just stay doing what we were doing for the first semester. That was my first taste of homeschooling. If you do some research, you would see that a lot of people have different views on how you should homeschool. Like, some people are like, you should make your own curriculum, you should do it all by yourself, and if you're not doing that, then you're not homeschooling. And then there's people that buy a curriculum, do the curriculum with their kids. There's also online things, online curriculum, there's online teachers, there's co-ops, there's all types of different ways that you can homeschool. You just have to find the right one for you and go with that. I'm the type of person, I'm not judgmental at all. If the way you homeschool is the way you homeschool, and I'm not going to tell you, oh, you're not doing it right, So definitely just do your research. You do what you need to do for you. There's all types of different kids with different learning styles. There's kids with disabilities. So you can't tell someone, oh, that's not the right way to do it. When it's your kid, you do what you need to do. So the first time I started homeschooling, when my child was kindergarten, I was super excited because it's kindergarten. I got this. I know how to, ABC 1, 2, 3. I know how to read. I'm able to teach this. It's exciting. It's cool. It's cute. They're learning new stuff that everybody pretty much remembers that, they learned in kindergarten and first grade. I was even excited this time, but this time definitely a lot more fearful for second grade, fourth grade. Now, was I scared that I wasn't going to know anything? No. I would hope that I understand most things that happen in elementary school education, but at the same time, you don't want to miss things. You don't want to, you're scared you're going to miss things. You're scared you're going to not be able to teach them. Let's say you do forget something. It's been a while since I've been in elementary school. You have those thoughts and those fears. You don't want to mess your kids up, which is completely understandable. I was still excited, but the reason why I was excited is because I had from 2021, when I wish I would have kept doing homeschool, to 2024. I literally thought about it all the time. I researched it. I thought about it. I researched curriculum. I did this for that 3-year span because I was scared. I didn't want to pull the trigger. I didn't want them to miss out on being around other kids. I didn't want them to feel like I'm taking them away from their teachers and the other students and missing out on parties and field days. I wanted them to still have that connection with other people and other kids. And also just scared. You could put in the comments how many fears you might have. Even before you become a parent, you're fearful of messing your kid up. So definitely don't want to do that. So the reason why took me 3 years and I finally did it in 2024 was the previous school year. There was an issue with a child at their elementary school, and let's just say everyone was afraid, and the way the policies are, no one was told what happened exactly. No one was told what punishment was happening, the resolution, anything. This happened, we know it's scary, but we can't tell you anything else. And that worried me from the day it happened, which I would say it was probably maybe springtime. Yeah, it was definitely after March. Maybe April it happened, after spring break. And it kind of just left me with a achy feeling in my heart. Like, do I want them to go back to school? What do I do? I've been researching this for years, but I'm still afraid. But now that fear of not being able to homeschool them right was kind of getting overwritten by the fear of, is the school safe? And I feel like a lot of people are feeling like that nowadays. So the last straw, and I won't pinpoint the exact occasion where this happened, but nearby there was a school shooting that happened. It was too close for me. I definitely went and picked my kids up, and that day, I'm not 100% sure if they were ever, and I talk to my kids about mostly everything. If they ask about it, I'm not going to lie to them. They never asked about this until this happened, because it was super close. There was no way for me to protect them or act like it didn't happen. I did pick them up that day. The next day, they did go back to school, even though I didn't want to. I took them back to school, and there was whispers about it. I don't believe the teachers, said anything, but a lot of the kids were talking about it. It's just like Santa Claus. You can't have one kid not believe in Santa Claus, and then of course he's gonna go and be like, you believe in Santa Claus? Like, didn't you hear that he's not real? Like, that's exactly what happened. So when they got in the car that next day, when I picked them up, I said, hey, how was school? Was there anything significant that was talked about? And they were like, oh, you're talking about the school shooting? I said, yeah, because they said it caught me off guard. They said it very nonchalant, like, oh, school shooting. And they were like, yeah, some kids brought it up. The teachers told them, we're not going to talk about that right now. And that was about it. So I proceeded to tell them what happened. Because, again, I'm not going to sugarcoat things and lie to them. So I told them what happened. Asked them, is this the first time you're hearing about anything like this? Is this significant to you? Is this weird? They were like, I know that it happens. That was about it. It happens enough where it's not shocking to us. I should say. We had that conversation. Maybe for the next week, I want to say. Maybe not even that long. I asked my husband about, how should we proceed? Is this a knee-jerk reaction? Should I just let them go back to school? I, asked my husband, my family, my parents, asked them all the questions, asked them if they would support me in the decision if I pulled them out. And I got great feedback. They understood if I did, they understood if I didn't. So I pulled them out of school September 11th, 2024. I do not regret it. So my husband, he does have a job that he goes to 5 to 6 days a week, 10 to 14 hours a day. Although he's gone, when he's here, he does help with homeschooling. I feel like our approach to homeschooling, although they do have a curriculum that they have online for their core curriculum, this curriculum is Me Academy. Academy has, science, math, reading, language arts. It has science, social studies. It has a lot of electives like American Sign Language. It has Bible studies if you choose to do that. All types of other different languages, like a lot of other things that you can choose to do. On top of that, I do notice their shortcomings. If both of my children, when I pulled them out, their writing is atrocious. Their actual penmanship is what I mean. Their penmanship. So we definitely started getting to work on that, making sure that I could read what they're writing. I don't know how teachers read some of these kids' writing, but I was like, I can't. I need you to make sure that your penmanship at least where I can read it. So we work on that. We also, my husband, he knows how to code. He's been teaching them coding. Anything day to day can be, as long as you have your core curriculum, can be homeschooling. You know, I'm teaching them how to cook. I'm teaching them how to manage their money, finances, all that stuff is a part of our homeschooling. A lot of people believe in unschooling, which is basically where you freely just let kids pick what they want to learn and learn that. And to a degree, yeah, I do that sometimes. Like I said earlier, we do things on weekends. I ask them, what subject would you like to learn about today? And everything that they're interested in, I turn it into 5 different lessons, right? You can talk about geometry when you're playing basketball. The angle at which you have to, hit the square on the basketball hoop and all that great stuff. You don't have to sit there and do the geometry, but at least they understand, oh, now I know what geometry is. I know it's about shapes and the measurements and all that great stuff. Also physics when it comes to basketball. Because I kind of, from 2021, or 2020, we had another child since then, so the kindergarten space that I had for his class has definitely been taken over. But they do have desks. My 9-year-old has a desk in his room. I have a desk. My husband has a desk. And the kitchen table. It doesn't have to be like a classroom setup. You can. That's fun. But if they want to, sit on the couch and learn, cool. If they want to sit at mommy's desk and do that, cool. If they want to sit at the desk upstairs in my 9-year-old's room, cool. If they want to go outside because it's a nice day outside and do their schoolwork there, cool. Like, sometimes and people call this unschooling too, sometimes you have to get out of the mindset of, oh, we need to wake up, we all need to get dressed, have breakfast, which, yeah, of course, at a certain time. Y'all need to start when public school starts at 8:15, and we're going to keep going till 3 o'clock. It's not realistic. One, when you are in public school, there's 25 other kids in the classroom. It takes 7 hours because it's 1 or 2 people teaching 25 other children with all different kind of paces of learning. And if one or 2 children don't get it, you have to keep repeating it over and over again. They have recess, they have lunch. I have to do all of this, and it takes a little bit longer than if I just have 2 or 3 children. We get through stuff a lot faster because if my 9-year-old gets that concept and we have watched a video, done assessments, taken a quiz, looked at a documentary, I've tested him, and that only took 1 day, then it only took 1 day. If he knows it already, we don't have to keep beating that horse, right? But if you have a classroom of 25 and 14 aren't getting it, you gotta keep going until that every kid at least passes. So it usually takes us about 2 hours to be done with the core curriculum. They do have those extra electives that I've set up for them. Because I have a 2-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 9-year-old, they're all on different stages of learning things. And my 2-year-old is loud and doesn't care what you guys are doing, what you're not doing. Y'all are going to listen to me. So I get them to do their online curriculum while he's awake. And then when he takes his nap, we do worksheets, we do the science part. Because if you are trying to do a science project with a little 2-year-old running around, it's not going to work. They're going to be touching things they shouldn't touch. They're going to pour out things they shouldn't pour. So there's definitely a balance. I also do have help. Like I said, my dad was just here. They live close by. If I really need to or want to take them on a field trip where it's not really age appropriate for the 2-year-old, then, I ask them to wash them ahead of time. I understand that everybody doesn't have that ability to be able to have help, have a husband that he's off some days and has help to do that. I'm just stating what I do when it comes to age gaps within our family. The benefits of homeschooling, obviously, you're more bonded with your children. I feel like you get to see what they're doing when they're at school, because 2020, that was, I don't know if it's just me. I know it's not just me. This was my first child that was going into kindergarten, my firstborn. And I forever have been waiting on the day where I can walk him into kindergarten, meet his teacher, see his cute little desk, his cute little name on his desk, help him with his little supplies, cry, and walk out of the room. Did not get to do that. Didn't get to do that. A lot of people didn't get to do that. We cried. I'm sure we all cried, but we didn't get to that experience, and it sucked. So, and I know a lot of things surpassed that, and how horrible 2020 was, but that was just one little small thing that I know that a lot of people share. Didn't get to do that is what that year was called. So being able to see them grow, teach them things that probably don't get taught in school anymore. Cursive does not get taught in a lot of schools. Some schools do. But cursive. So this is also expected, but still, it hurts. These kids eat a lot. They eat a lot. And you're the cafeteria lady now. And I feel like they eat more when they're at home. They eat more when they're at home. Because at school, my kids, they would go in, have breakfast. They would take a snack with them. They ate lunch at school. Here, it's like 2 breakfasts, 5 snacks, lunch, 4 snacks, 2 dinners. I swear. So, be prepared to have some type of menu and some type of boundaries. Like, hey, this is what we're eating. And then you have to go do your schoolwork. And you can kind of gauge my children, they're more like 30 minutes. And 30 minutes after they've eaten breakfast, once they've done their schoolwork, after that hour and a half, 2 hours, 30 minutes after that, they want lunch or a snack, which is fine. But at the beginning, they wanted to eat the whole time while they were learning. They wanted to eat, it got crazy. So definitely come up with some boundaries on when we're eating, and also come up with a plan on what you're eating, so you're not like, oh my gosh, I have to go, get some more food, some more snacks. We got to go eat fast food. Past December, I really wanted to keep going with their curriculum, but I didn't want to push them too much. We did stop a little later than public school would have stopped for winter break, but they still had a winter break, and I also wanted to test them to see where they were at. Because again, I was afraid of messing them up. I didn't want them to be behind, so I gave them a test. I gave them a California test. I believe it's called CAT, C-A-T, and they actually did a fantastic job. I was concerned with Grayson's reading comprehension, and I was also concerned with Hayden and just understanding directions. I've noticed that sometimes when he does worksheets, and he doesn't read the directions, and he just thinks that he knows what the worksheet is supposed to do, but either he reads the directions wrong or he doesn't read them at all. So I was concerned that he wasn't going to read the directions correctly. I didn't want to give them any help. I wanted to know exactly what they were missing in their curriculum. So overall, on both, they averaged one grade level ahead. Overall, there was a few where I don't know what. I was worried about Grayson's reading comprehension. He scored like 8th grade reading comprehension. You know, I was like, okay, it is what it is. You know, there was a few places where Grayson scored a little higher than a 4th grade level, but there was language usage and structure, both of them, and language mechanics, both of them scored right, either average or right under. So for Hayden, he scored at a 1.8 grade level, which is right under 2nd grade, and Grayson scored, I want to say, 4.1. So at grade level, but not fantastic. So we ended up getting some language arts books, language mechanics books, punctuation, capitalization, all that stuff, so I can make sure that they get that extra help there. So I would definitely suggest testing. There's so many out there. You can jump on a Facebook group or homeschooling groups. They're everywhere. Homeschooling groups are everywhere. You can get on there and literally, you don't even have to say anything. You can just search standardized tests, which I know some people do not like standardized tests, but this is just a way to see where you're at. I mean, unless you make your own test, which I don't know if that's that would be helpful, but definitely make sure you test your children to see where they need help. And that's all. People are always like, oh, well, how do you like it? Will you still do it next year? I personally, at this moment right now, I'm going to do it next year. And a lot of people also ask me, my 2-year-old, is he just going to be completely homeschooled? Is he never going to have that public school experience or pre-K experience, or, whatever? I'm not going to say that I'm not going to put him in pre-K. I'm not going to say that I'm not going to put him in pre-K. I'm also not going to say that I will not ever put them back in school. I don't know. It's just a lot going on right now. And at this point, especially during elementary school, I probably won't send them back to school. If they want to go back maybe in high school, maybe. If they want to go to a private school and we have the means to do so in middle school, maybe. Everything is a maybe. I'm not going to sit here and act like, oh, it's all cupcakes and rainbows and I want them to stay with me forever and every day is perfect and easy. No, there's some days where they fight back. They want to just snuggle on the couch with their mom, and I'm like, no, I'm your teacher. Right now, we need to do this. It's definitely helpful to have a routine. I had a strict routine, the first couple weeks, and then it kind of got lazy. And I was like, okay, here's a routine. It's very loose, but here's the routine. Before 12, this is what we're doing. Between 12 and 3, this is what we're doing. And then it's kind of a free fall after that because, stuff happens. People, they still have after school activities. They still go in to do sports. They're in swim, all that stuff. So we have a routine, but it's loose. If we want to go, on a field trip, we're going to go on a field trip. And then we might do our curriculum that evening when we get back. I'm not the only one that sat there for years or is still sitting there for years thinking, oh, can I homeschool my kids? There's a lot of things that have to happen in some households to even get to that point. Because people have to go to work. I still do my real estate. I still have showings. But again, I have family, parents that can watch my kids when I have to go do those things. People work from home. Do you want your kids to be running around screaming in the background when you're working from home? That's a worry. There's a lot of different options. You can, there's private schools out there where you can take your kid 1 or 2 days for electives. That's cheaper. There's co-ops where there's other homeschool mothers and fathers that you kind of rotate and they homeschool your kids that day, and then you homeschool all the kids another day. I mean, there's a wide variety of options, and I'll make, even though I'm not hip to all of them, I will make an effort to do some research so I can share with you guys different ways that you can go about it. I know there is a big financial aspect of it. If you do decide and one parent stays home, now you're losing that income. But I want to encourage you to think about it and start getting those pieces in place, because it is very, very rewarding to do so. Comment below on where you live and if you've ever thought about homeschooling. I would love to hear your thoughts on it. I would love to hear your apprehensions on it. I know it's not for everybody. I know that it's a lot of things to think about, especially kids with disabilities, or kids that are gifted. All kids are different, and sometimes that might be a roadblock too. So just let me know.